Hi, I'm Jacob,
I'm Michael.
and today we're reviewing Badfinger's Love Is Gonna Come at Last single, which was released in 1979 with the B-side Sail Away. And this is the second single off the Airwaves album, which was a reunion of sorts with Joey Mollen and Tom Evans. This one actually charted slightly. It hit number 69 on the Billboard, so it's not considered one of the band's primary singles, but it had some impact. So let's get into it. What do we think of the second single, Love Is Gonna Come at Last?
Powerful to me, and probably the single, if there would be an ideal single off of the reunion album. Sadly now without Pete Ham, but the opening slide guitar really sent chills through me and goosebumps for Badfinger as soon as I heard it. It was evocative of the sound that you'd fallen in love with. It wasn't exactly the same, it wasn't even that. It was close enough. It was a beautiful song. Both of them were really trying to continue and touched upon the Badfinger magic in some of their self-written songs on this album. But there was no denying that the void was there, the pain was there, and Pete Ham wasn't there. And there was no way around that. The superhuman effort was made to make that sound, but the fact was that there was an emptiness, and you knew it, and you took it for what it was. As Love Is Gonna Come at Last begins, you're drawn back into it's Badfinger. It just was reminiscent, and it brought tears to my eyes when I heard it. And of course, you thought of the group that had once been and you had seen, but now was no more, and here the two of them were back together.
Joey's voice is just really in its prime. I've never heard him sound so good. These songs are so well suited to him, and they all sound like masterpieces for the Joey canon. I think this song was hard to play live. I actually think I only know of like one recording they did during these sessions. I think maybe the harmonies in it, slide guitar, a lot of that was hard to create, but there was a lot of studio magic going on too on the song, so I want to call that out. And the bass playing also very funky. In the bridge, it's like pumping the way it's produced. You almost don't need percussion because Tom's bass playing is just the pulse of the whole song. And I love that riff he does in one point. I'll probably splice in right here that. And then that beautiful mix, the way the guitar kind of goes right into the hi-hat, like the side of the pickup, kind of enters your brain right before the Spanish guitar solo comes in or whatever that
The
is.
shimmering picking too that goes throughout.
I think he's playing it away from the neck. It goes stereo, it really widens out. And the last chorus, again, the Joey songwriting strategy where he puts a lesson in there a little bit, right? That like someday I'll find a way to make my. He just adds one more little refrain in the chorus.
Great, good point. Good point.
That's pro songwriting.
Yeah.
Like, that I would have never thought. Just repeat it 3 times. That's it. I'm done. I wrote my single, but Joey always puts that little touch on there to make it timeless. So really melodic song overall, considering it's 3 chords or something. He always finds a way to get those notes.
Classic.
So B-side, Tom Evans gets some exposure on the single with Sail Away. Also, it ends the album. So interesting choice to have the B-side also be the ending song on the album. So from the title, you might think this is a yacht rock song, especially in 1979. It's not really. It's more of a kind of a psychedelic piano ballad to end the album. And I think it's a good 2 a.m. bar closing song of positive twist on dark times. It gets a little repetitive to me. I think it could be a little bit shorter, or maybe there could be a little more production to change it up. Is Joey even on the song? I'm not sure. Yeah, it's just kind of some orchestration, maybe a little more of a band feel, considering this is if this was a Tom Evans solo song, I love it. As a Badfinger song, I think it's missing another layer or two, but it works as a B-side, and I'm perfectly fine to find it on the other side of Love Is Gonna Come at Last.
I always loved Sail Away. I thought it was really, really beautiful, and also noted the tom lines deeper and darker, which he had used in Flying in the second verse,
And we mentioned the harmony on Carry On, almost like Carry On Till Tomorrow. There's like a nice 2-part harmony.
Yeah.
Those open vowels that I think it's...
Also something that when I heard was extremely touching in the Badfinger mold, that it was Tommy singing Carry On, came up with that touching refrain again, Carry On, and I always thought it was kind of a connection, kind of still hanging in there, which he was doing at that point. And along those lines, it's a very emotional song. I mean, I always consider it kind of a piano tour de force to play, but it hasn't come through that big or that well known or anything. But I hear Tommy's pain in the song too, with some hope hopefully mixed in, but there's a weariness and there's a search for a kind of a peace somewhere up ahead. If you keep sailing beautiful piano parts. Nicky Hopkins playing the piano on it adds a beautiful touch.
So let's rate them out of 10. Love's Gonna Come at Last with Sail Away.
Love Is Gonna Come at Last is so superbly constructed and so evocative with the slide of Badfinger that I immediately have to land it. And I'm going to give it a 7.
You did a half last time, so I'm going to
Yeah,
use that.
you did that.
I'm going 8.5. I think this is just as strong. It's just a notch below some of the other top tier Badfinger singles from the prime, but I think this is as good as any single. This could be a top 10 hit for me. When I want to listen to Badfinger, if this comes on first, it satisfies that urge. I think Joey knocked it out of the park, and he gave this effort all he could during the Airwaves era. And it shows that it charted it all,
I agree.
given all of 5 years after the Badfinger name had been anywhere near it. That is the end of the Airwaves. That's the end of Badfinger's time with Elektra. They did briefly start another album, which I was researching. They re-recorded Love Is Easy and a couple Natural Gas songs.
Did not know that.
And those have, Joey still owns those, so maybe we'll get a release someday of what those sessions sounded like. But they would go to a different label. We have a surprise, so we'll be back to show you that soon.